Welcome back to SIHH Live. Time is fluid, literally. Not just because time flows, but because you're going to hear in a couple of minutes about watches that use fluidic modules to measure the passing of time. Fluidic horology is actually a category in the world of watchmaking, just one that is not very often discussed. So we have a chance today to hear about that, and that's going to be by the CEO of HYT, Gregory Dourde.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Yes, thank you very much. Time is fluid. You know that the human perception of the time is fluid. In all the culture, when you ask the people, what is time? What is your perception, your representation of time? They always explain that you have a future that becomes a present. This is a now. And the now is disappearing and become a past. Future, present, past. It's a flow. Time is a flow, and it's always moving. The HYT project at the beginning was to try to re-give this intuitive perception of the time. When you think of it and when you realize that showing or indicating the time with hands is really an abstraction. It's really abstract. It's like an accident in the history, a beautiful accident in the history of time measurement, but it has been really developed thanks to the powerful and the strength of the mechanical clocks. And you had to index, you have to show, to have a precise indication. But with that, you lose an information, a perception of the flow. And the hand is like lost in the space. And our project that you see on this watch is that we have a green liquid which represents your past. And you have the transparent liquid, which is flowing inside a tube of glass, a capillary, which is showing you your future. Future, transparent, past, colored. The boundary between the two is the now. And during all the day, you have the green liquid, which is flowing inside the capillary. And thanks to that, you have a new perception, a more human, a more intuitive perception of the time. So you see on this video that you have the green liquid, which is flowing during all the day inside this tube of glass. The first idea that we had when we developed HYT was to re-give this unique perception of the time. And you see here, it's a very historical picture of what we have developed, especially the founder and the guy who had the luminous ID, Lucien, who is here, thank you, Lucien, is a timeline. A timeline, you have it in all your computers, in all the modern and contemporary device. Activity tracker of Apple Watch, you have the progress bar of the Windows Apple system. They don't show you the elapsed time or the duration with the hand. They indicate you with pixels that go forward like that. We bring an additional sound to a pixel digital system, but we project you in a very, in a tool, in an object that re-gives you the perception of the essence of the time. So here we have developed all our watches with a team of more than 40 people. We spent 15 years of research and development in order to achieve these objects of time and space that we mix and we see together. And for sure, the very simple expression of the timeline that you saw at the beginning has driven us in terms of meaning, in terms of sense. Then we had to develop the very intense and huge science, contemporary science. The HYT project is a combination always of tradition and being contemporary. We don't say there is a confrontation between the two. We want to merge them. We combine them. And inside the HYT watch, you see that there are more than 400 different components. There is a mechanical movement, and the mechanical movements from haute horlogerie that we have co-developed with Chronote, Jean-François Maujon for some models, and with Audemars Piguet, Renaud and Papy for other models. They give the regulation of time, the precision of the time. And they also give the force, the energy, to the fluidic device and to for the liquids to move and to go forward. You see on this video what we call the wedding of the two universes, the wedding of the mechanics and the fluidics. And here we have the combination, and you see that when we put the mechanical movement, which is at the top, inside the fluidic device, you will see that you have the birth of the fluidic time that you see here, and the green liquid, which is moving forward. How to read the time on the HYT? So you have the colored liquid, which represents your past, and the transparent, your future. The boundary indicates the hours. So here you see that the green liquid stops just after the indication of the 10, so it's 10 hours. And then at the top, you have a regulator, so you have 8 minutes, and on the left, you have the indication of the seconds. So it's 10 hours, 8 minutes, and 50 seconds. You start the day at 6 in the morning here, completely at the bottom. Then it's noon at the top, and 6 p.m. at the end. So when the green liquid will flow and that will reach the end of the capillary, the colored liquid cannot go any further. So we have developed a special mechanism that will allow, you see the 6 p.m. position, that will allow the green liquid to go, if the animation is going, okay, it doesn't work, that's happened. So normally you have the green liquid that reaches this position, and there is a rewind. The green liquid is flowing back into its original position, and this is the second part of your day, which is happening, which is 6 p.m., midnight, 6 a.m. So that means that twice a day, you have this rewind movement of the green liquid flowing forward and then flowing backward, as you see on this video. What is interesting is that when you have the green liquid which goes back to its original position, it flows back into a reservoir, a tank, a bellow. And when it flows back, the green liquid is remixing. The molecular configuration is changing. And when you have the green liquid that will flow back, then the molecular configuration will be new. Time is different. Time is never the same. So you have also the visibility, the vision, the idea, the philosophy, that also you don't have an abstraction of time, but you see the time passing by. HYT is a project that is a combination. It's at the crossroad of arts and science. You see that what has driven us to start with was the idea to give you a new perception, a more intuitive, more human way of reading the time, of telling the time. We are much more time teller than timekeeper. To do that, we need a very intense research and development program. And the sciences that we have used, the HYT project has been possible thanks to contemporary sciences. 20 years ago, it would not have been possible. We use really contemporary science coming from aerospace industry, medical device industry, semiconductor industry. And it's really at the crossroad of having an art project, philosophical project, meaning project, together mixed with the most advanced technology. Here today, I will go through some. I will not have time. We need maybe 6 hours to do that. Some of the challenges that we had in terms of science and technology. And you are very, very welcome at the end of the presentation to go on our booth to discover the second part of our identity, which is the philosophical project, and to see and to touch and to feel and to experience, to live the fluidic time with interaction with our project. We have optimized the visibility of this flow. the flow and the perception of the time that flows is absolutely at the first place for us. That's why we have been working on many different fields that you see here. I will go really quickly on it. You see that we have two liquids. The two liquids do not mix. It's like oil and vinegar. It's more complex in terms of chemistry, but the two liquids we manufacture inside. It's like the Coca-Cola, we cannot and we will not disclose the formula of these two liquids, but the two liquids at the beginning, they are transparent, they do not mix, and we also have to find dyes, special dyes coming from the medical industry, medical imaging industry, and it has to stay and to remain into one of the liquid and not to go into the other one. We use the best dye that can exist on all the applications for all the different colors. We have 4 colors of watches, of liquid. We have the green, the red, the blue, and the black. Then, in order to have your tube of glass, we have to bend it. You know, it comes from medical industry. We receive really glass from the highest grade, and we have developed special machines. It's a combination of automated machines combined with craftsmanship. We bend the glass. Glass is a very interesting material because sometimes it's like a liquid, you know, when you hit it, and sometimes it's really like a solid when you break it. So you have to find the right parameters, and we explored many countries to try to find artisans to help us to understand how to work with the glass. And at the end, we merged glass blowers with our engineers in order to develop these special and unique machines. You have a visibility of the green liquid, of the colored liquid, which is really intense. It's big. We use optical effects, like a loop. You know, you have some watches that have a loop system in order to increase the perception, to magnify the size of the object. We use that also, and it's precise calculations that we did in order to optimize the visual effects and the length, the thickness of our liquids. And for sure, HYT, we do not, and we will not, integrate complications that have been invented in the past. It has been invented. We create the complication from the 3rd millennium. We are contemporary brands, contemporary watchmakers. We took the problem of the visibility of reading the time in the night. And basically, what we have done is we used modern technology, and we created, we're world first, a light system that you see at the top left that is completely, purely mechanical lighting. We use the system of the dynamo, the principle. We have reduced it, we have complexified it, but it offers the possibility to the end user, to the customer, to experience a really cool visibility of your watch in the night using 2 LEDs. There is absolutely no electronic inside, and there is no battery. So it's a completely haute horlogerie, haute complication from the 3rd millennium. Once again, HYT will enter into, by the way, into the new book. You know, there is a reference book in Switzerland for all the watchmakers. It's called Les Montres à Complication. And HYT will enter with its 2 complications, the fluidic device, fluidic indication of the time passing by, and also the light system that we have invented. In order to be also precise, because the watch has to show you the time precisely, we also have to really control precisely the space and the time. You know that it's been more than 100 years that now we know that time and space are not 2 things and 2 elements that are separate. You know, it's a whole. And here, what is interesting is that we see that when the liquid flows inside the watch, the time flows, time goes forward, and the time is changing the space. It colors the space. So it's not like a hand that disappears. It's changing, it leaves some traces inside. And to master that, we have to have a very precise interface, marriage, communication between the mechanical world and the fluidic world. For sure, We cannot have any leakage. That means that we had to develop special device, special system technologies in order for the fluidic device to be 10,000 times more waterproof, more tight compared to a diver's watch. So we use special technologies for that, so that your watch can last and can indicate and show you the time for the coming decades. You also have to control basically the flow. If you go too quickly, you can create some turbulence. So we have for that special system, special fluids that we combine together. We have a coating inside the tube of glass that allows the two liquids to slide, not to stick on the capillary and the tube of glass. This coating that you will see, basically is transparent. And because otherwise it's applied inside the capillary, the tube of glass. And it's transparent, otherwise you would not see the liquids. And this component comes from semiconductor industry, really high tech, not from Switzerland, from America. And this is the most expensive component of the watch. So it means that the whole project had to go to Princeton, to Stanford, to the best universities, having program of research and developments really advanced, in order to make HYT and the fluidic time possible. It has to make us think also what is Swiss-made. We are Swiss-made, but it's good to have a small portion of your development cost and of your sourcing that you can also buy abroad in order not to shrink and to enrich yourself. And I would say that without the NASA suppliers, HYT would not have been possible. And it's a really intense work that we do worldwide in terms of searching the best technologies in order to serve a meaning and a new way to feel and to reach the time. I will finish, with developing some components is one thing. Then as we created everything, we also had to invent and to create the machines to be able to produce, to fill the fluidic device with the two liquids, to set. And all that is part of our fluidic lab production. I invite a lot of you, everybody, to come and to visit us in Neuchâtel. You know that HYT is completely unique. We have to spend a lot of time in educating customer, trade, press, new generation, students. And part of the education is also an experience. So sure, when you come to Neuchâtel, you can visit our production facility, and you will see machines that you will never see in any other companies in a clean room. It's like an environment which is much more related to aerospace industry and medical device. And we do all that to serve really the idea of the fluidic time. At the end of the 15 years of research and development, we have a very important intellectual property portfolio. We have protected all our creation, all our inventions, and worldwide. And every year we have an increase of the number of patents. It gives also the security and safety for our customers and for our partners to have an object that cannot, and until now, that cannot be copied. I will finish here. It was really short. You have the possibility, you have the link here. I did a lecture in the Horological Society of New York in June in 2018. I went a little more deep into some technical details to explain you, and I would not have time to present you the product and all the philosophy and the idea behind that, but you are really warmly welcome to visit us or to take contact with us to explore really the fluidity of the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gregory. Let's do something, I don't know if it's sensible or not, but go back to that slide, and if you want to watch the talk, take a picture of the URL. I did watch it. It's really interesting. Gregory, just one question. We are in the middle of the third day of the salon. How is the SIHH gone so far for you?
Really bad.
Really bad. I'm sorry to hear
No,
that.
it was really well. We are just we just passed half of the fair.
Yeah.
I think that it's an amazing fair, amazing organization. I see it in the last 3 years. I never saw so many traffic, so many people in the whole carré. In the whole carré, it's really crowded. On our booth, it was also a lot of people. I think that for sure, for independent brands like HYT, we take a benefit from the perfect organization of the big maisons, les grandes maisons. And I think that we also propose some alternatives, some creativity. We take a lot of risk as HYT. We invest a lot of money, and I think it's one of the particularity of the innovators is to have some freedom to operate. And one day, what we see that we had to spend a lot of time into education, and it's still our #1 priority. It's because the vocabulary is new, the concepts are new, the way to tell the time is completely new. Although it's really intuitive and human, it's really new, and we need time to explain all that. And HYT is a project with a lot of storytelling, We have maybe too much. Here we just explore really quickly the technology, but we also have all the artistic and way of representing time with really concrete object. Absolutely. And this is where we have a lot of positive and great interactions with the trade, the press, and the final customer here at the SIHH this year. It's amazing.
And what is the reaction to the new pieces?
So I would say that after, we're 6 years old, so are really babies. We are compared to the whole history. Although we are really inscripted in the long history of the fluidic measurement of time. What we see that what we have done in the last years really pay well because of this education. And we see that now we don't have, for many people, they did some homework before coming. HYT and the fluidic time is more and more known, and now we can spend more time to explain also the product, the details of the product, and the philosophy, and also for the people to experience it, because it can be PowerPoint, presentation is always something abstract. You live the time when you are on the floor. You live HYT watches when you have it on your wrist.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. It was a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gregory.
Thank you.
Thank you all here for coming. Thanks to those who have been watching online. We're going to suspend the live stream for about 35 minutes. We are going to be back at 3:30 Geneva time, 3:30 p.m. Geneva time, with a session about design and watchmaking, a design masterclass by watchmaker Laurent Ferrier, 3:30 p.m. Geneva time. Goodbye for now.